Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into a spiritual movement that you've probably seen all around the world, but we're going to get to the very heart of what Rastafari is all about. You know that one idea? It's pretty much the core of a whole global movement. You might recognize the symbols, the music, the colors, the dreadlocks, but the real story behind them is this incredible tale of prophecy, identity, and just profound resistance.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look past the surface level and really understand the origins, the core beliefs, and the unique way of life that truly defines Rastafari. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, first things first. To really wrap our heads around Rastafari, we have to push past all the common stereotypes. This is a story that kicks off on a small island, but its message of freedom, well, that has echoed all over the globe. And when we say global, we mean it. While its roots are dug deep in Jamaican soil, Rastafari has blossomed into a worldwide faith. We're talking about roughly 1 million followers around the world practicing its unique way of life, or livity. To really get it, we've got to travel back in time to the 1930s in Jamaica. Now, back then, it was a British colony, and the descendants of enslaved Africans were on this deep search for identity, for a connection back to their roots. And into that environment comes this powerful prophecy from the activist Marcus Garvey. He was this huge voice for African pride, and he preached about returning to the motherland. He really planted this seed of hope, a hope for liberation. And then, in 1930, it happened. All the way over in Ethiopia, a man named Rastafari Makonnen was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I. For a lot of people back in Jamaica, this wasn't just some political news story from a faraway land. No way. This was the fulfillment of Garvey's prophecy. It was a divine sign. And this belief, well, it became the absolute cornerstone of the whole movement. They saw Haile Selassie as God, or Jah, made flesh. Rastas started rereading the Christian Bible, but now through this new Afrocentric lens, seeing themselves as the true chosen people. So this brings us to a really central concept, maybe the central concept that frames the entire Rasta worldview. And it's this constant spiritual battle between what they call Babylon and the Promised Land, Zion. But here's the key thing to get. Babylon and Zion, they're not just dots on a map. Babylon is more like a state of mind. It represents the oppressive, materialistic, corrupt modern world. And Zion, on the other hand, it's not just Ethiopia. It's a state of being. It's freedom, purity, and that spiritual connection. So Rastas see themselves as living in a kind of spiritual exile, right in the heart of Babylon. The goal isn't only to physically get back to Africa, but to resist Babylon's corrupting influence by creating their own separate way of life, all while they wait for that ultimate return to Zion. So how do you actually live these big ideas every single day? Well, that's where this incredible philosophy called livity comes in. It's a practice that touches, literally, every single part of their lives. Livity is all about living in a way that is pure, natural, and just in total harmony with Jah and all of creation. It's about making a conscious choice at every turn to reject the Babylon system. And of course, probably the most visible symbol of this livity are dreadlocks. They were inspired by the Nazarite vow you can read about in the Bible, and they represent a total rejection of Babylon's standards of beauty. They're even seen as a kind of spiritual antenna, a direct link to the energy of the earth and to Jah. Food is another huge piece of the puzzle. The Ital diet, which comes from the word vital, is absolutely central. It's all about pure, unprocessed, and often vegan foods. And the idea is really simple. If your body is a temple, you're not going to pollute it with impure things like processed foods or meat. It just makes sense. This is so cool. Even language itself becomes a tool for liberation. Rastas will actually change words to better reflect their philosophy. So we becomes I and I to show that we are all one. Understand becomes overstand because the goal is to rise above something, not stand under it. It's a conscious act of decolonizing their own speech. And we have to talk about ganja, what they call the wisdom weed. It's really important to understand that for Rastas, this is not a recreational drug. Not at all. It's a sacred herb, a sacrament that they use during meditation and in these group reasoning sessions to open the mind and get closer to the divine. So here's the big question, right? How did this powerful movement, which was born in the hills of Jamaica, among a community that was pushed to the margins, manage to spread its message all across the entire planet?
Well, the answer is this amazing story of a king and a musician. Haile Selassie's huge visit to Jamaica back in '66 inspired thousands of people, and one of them was a young Bob Marley. His music, it became the ship that carried the Rasta message of liberation, resistance, and one love to every corner of the world. It just shows you how powerful culture can be.
And that influence today, I mean, it's undeniable. You see it everywhere. From the global love of reggae music and plant-based diets to its status as this powerful symbol for social justice and African pride. The impact of Rastafari is felt in cultures miles and miles away from its Jamaican home. That quote right there really just nails the essence of what Rastafari represents in our modern world. For millions of people, both inside the movement and out, it's this powerful call for a more natural, a more just, and a more spiritually connected way of living.
And that leaves us with a pretty big thought to take with you from this explainer on Rastafari. It's a movement that really challenges all of us to take a hard look at our own world, our own Babylon, and ask ourselves, what